to.
This is the initial tweet that sparked the entire. It was basically him kind of reiterating what the structure of a journalist's integrity should be in hip hop media.
Journalists want interviews with artists and things like that. But he basically broke down a reason why some journalists don't get interviews. He said, number one, most journalists don't have their own platform, so that somewhat forces the artist to fund and produce the interview themselves. He said he's done it because he sees the value in it, but he understands if an artist doesn't want to pay for their own interview. Number two, naturally, as artists, we have shit to say, and we want what we have to say to reach the most amount of people. So going to where the majority of people's eyes are, streamers, etc., is attractive. Number three, nobody cares about reading interviews on magazine outlets anymore. Video interviews are king, and video interviews cost money. See point number one. And number four, he said, really the only solution is journalists, just like everyone else, have to build up their brand, fan base, and name themselves so that they can attract artists to their platform, or artists just invest money in producing their own interviews with respect to journalists and putting it on their own platform, which Russ has done with B. Dot a few times.
I don't see anything wrong that he said in that whatsoever.
Russ,
and what did she just take? No one's trying to go to Russ for an interview. I don't even understand how she read all that and had that reply.
Okay, so she said paying someone to interview you isn't journalism, it's marketing. You want journalists to function as your PR, hire a better publicist maybe. So I get, she should have worded that better, but I understood where she's coming from with that response. Paying somebody to interview you isn't journalism, because journalism is supposed to be
oh, then she doesn't know about journalism.
Objective. Yeah, but traditionally, real journalism is supposed to be objective. If you pay me for an interview, then I'm not being objective, because there are certain things that you can pay me not to ask you. So if you're paying for your own interview, that's kind of like PR.
I mean,
all interviews are PR.
Politicians do that all the time.
I was going to say, that's the thing.
That's been in the Source, XXL. Like, there's the journalistic version of payola exists.
For sure.
Favor for a favor. Yo, if you put this artist on the cover, the Source, I'll guarantee you 3 interviews with these artists that are also on our label. Like, it's been a bartering system in journalism, not just hip hop, period, forever.
Yes, but you can't get mad at her for saying, hey, this is, when I go to journalism school, this is what they teach you. Journalism, real journalism, is to be objective. That's in to report on what's happening.
If somebody pays for an interview, let's say a label pays a platform to have their artist on there, what makes it not objective?
Well,
because there's been plenty of times when artists have come on the platforms for free, and then PR will hand them a list of shit they can't talk about. Mm-hmm. Why does a money exchange have to matter in that?
Because
if everything is nothing's off limits, but they pay for the interview and I can ask whatever the fuck I want, why is that not journalism?
Because, for example, with the Tyler interview, let's say bring up the Tyler interview when they asked her about being black, being colored, or whatever, right? Being that I think it was the Breakfast Club, being that they didn't pay the Breakfast Club for that interview, that footage still comes out of her just not answering the question, her shaking her head, her looking back at her PR for help, because the Breakfast Club owns that footage because they were not paid for that footage. Mm-hmm. Now, for example, if they were paid for that interview and that interview was funded, then the people who pay have complete control. Like, they have control of what comes out, how it's released, or what gets cut out, all of that. You don't have that if you don't pay for the interview.
There was plenty of labels that paid for the mics in the Source for album reviews, and the Source still own their content. I think she's very confused on what actually happens in journalism.
It happens, but it doesn't mean that everybody does that, and it doesn't mean that that's the way it's supposed to happen. It's like saying there's crooked cops. Yes, there are crooked cops, but it's not supposed to be like that.
With the Breakfast Club example,
it's not supposed to be like that.
There's kind of like the unwritten, untalked about rule that if we bring in an artist, what is Tyler? Atlantic?
The creator?
I'm not sure.
Tyler.
No.
Tyler.
Oh, Tyler.
No, Tyler.
Tyler.
Tyler, the creator.
Yeah.
He took the hard ER off.
He's with Epic.
Okay. There's an unwritten rule with Epic being under Sony, that they will continue to bring their artists to the Breakfast Club and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Not trying to belittle the Breakfast Club, but they have relationships with every single label. Some of them have even worked for labels while they were on the Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. There's an unwritten rule, don't ask these questions, and we'll continue to bring our artists in for safer interviews. Mm-hmm. Again, not discrediting the Breakfast Club, because Charlamagne did a great job his whole career of asking the questions we really wanted to hear. But let's say any radio station. There's no currency exchange with that. That's just a relationship moving forward. Don't go against the rules that our PR at our label told you, and we'll continue to bring artists to you. There's no currency exchange there.
Okay, there is a current. You just named the currency. The relationship is currency. There's not money, but the relationship is currency. You're giving something for getting something and getting something, but that does not make it objective journalism. I think that's why you're missing.
So find
the point.
me the objective journalist.
There's plenty of it.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Like just maybe not always in the hip hop space, but journalism as a whole. We're not only talking about journalism in music. Like journalism as a whole is supposed to be objective. Yes, like I said, there are crooked cops and there are people who skate around the rules to get, obviously to do what you have to do to get shit done. There's been questions we haven't asked that we should have, but it doesn't mean that that's always the right thing to do and that it was made to be like that. Journalism was not created to be like that. And I think that that was her point where it's like, if you're paying for an interview, that's not journalism.
But okay, to that conversation, there's also been times we've gotten lists and said no to interviews because we don't want to interview that person if we can't talk about that.
Yes. Thank you for your integrity.
Cool. But there's also been times where they won't give us a list and we can just say whatever the fuck we want. So I don't really see, what do you mean?
You can say whatever you want because you aren't being paid for the interview. Are you seeing what I'm saying? No one's paying you.
But
you said currency was taken out. It's relationships.
Yeah.
I'm confused about what you're confused about. So maybe I'm missing it. I'm confused about how you don't understand her point. Even if you don't agree with it, I'm confused on how you don't understand her point. Just off the simple of, if you are paying for an interview, that is not an objective interview, period. You have creative control of the interview. That is
also not always the case.
Then name one interview that there was not some form of relationship or actual currency exchanged, whether it be the conglomerate that the interviewer is working for, production crew, everything. Like, what is she talking about? It's a remedial point.
And that's not true, because the same way in which artists pay to get on Instagram pages to have their music promoted, they'll pay to sit down on camera just to be seen, say like with a Vlad. Like I always wanted to get a Vlad interview. Vlad's like, all right, cut me the check for X amount of money. Bet. Here's that money. You're paid to get on the platform. You don't own the content. You just wanted to be seen in front of this other guy.
But see, that's different. That's me paying the Vlad's, like whatever his price is to get on his platform. That's not me paying the engineer, paying for the engineer and paying for the studio time, which is what Russ is referring to. Paying for the engineer, paying for the studio time, paying for it to be edited. That's what he's referring to. At that point, Russ owns the content. The content creator or the journalist does not own the content.
So, all right. So where do we draw the line? Let's say there is no relationship or currency exchange happening whatsoever. And an artist comes here and says there's one particular thing they don't want to talk about, but everything else is on the table. We have an incredible 2-hour interview. We get to so much stuff, but because we're respectful people, we just leave that one topic over here. Is that now a compromised interview?
No, it's not a compromised interview. And it's not a compromised interview unless that there's a morality clause in that. Are you asking because they have a rape case? Oh, you're not asking they have a rape case open and you're not asking them about that, or they're accused of beating a woman and you don't want to ask them about that. That's different. But if they don't want to talk about their relationship, then that's something
I was more getting
different.
at that than rape or beating women.
But that's what I'm saying. As far as an interview being compromising, if that's their personal business that isn't owed to the public, that's different. But some answers that are owed to the public that you're not going to ask, even though the public is expecting you to ask those questions, again, that's something different. Me personally, I don't agree with the way that she came at Russ, but her response to that, I understand her point. That's all I was saying. I understand her point in saying if you are creating an interview, then it's not journalism. That's not an objective interview. That's all I was saying.
And I think that's a very remedial point to the overall scope of what journalism is.
Just because somebody's paying for the interview, i.e., the equipment, editing, things like that, I don't think that doesn't mean that it can't be objective.
It can be.
I mean, if you go in there and say, nah, don't ask me about this, then it's like, okay, I mean, some journalists just won't do it. They're like, all right, well, if we can't talk about that, me sitting here talking to you is like, people are going to be, if an artist has something major going on, and they're choosing not to talk about it publicly, journalists probably wouldn't take the interview because it's like, well, if we can't talk about the thing and what's happening right now, what's the point of us sitting here talking about whatever else you got going on? Like that would just, the journalist now looks like he or she didn't do a good job because it's like you didn't ask about obviously what everyone is going to run to the interview to hear about.
And I had an off the record conversation because I accused Elliot Wilson of doing that with his Drake interview with B-Dot. Because that ended up on OVO's YouTube page. It was directed by Theo, Drake's man. So I said to him, I was like, he definitely did the questions. He definitely edited out some shit. He said, no, Drake is just in the business of owning his content.
Mm-hmm.
Like a smart artist should, similar to what Russ is saying.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to shoot it and own the content. Didn't cut one fucking question out of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say there's nothing we can't talk about. It was a objective interview.
Yeah.
Didn't cut anything out. So to me, where's the problem?
Right.
If Drake chopped down a whole bunch of shit that Elliot and B-Dot asked, at that point, yeah.
But
now we're getting into spooky waters of artists are owning the content. The journalists can't ask certain things. If they ask them, the artist is going to cut it out.
And they're manipulating the content.
Exactly.
You bring that up, but he was interviewing with Elliot, who is respected in the journalistic space, especially when it comes to hip hop.
Journalists, yeah.
But we had a whole episode, well, no, not a whole episode, but we had an episode where we came on here talking about when he also owned the content with that white girl that went viral, and that interview is now missing from the internet. Do we remember that? We had that conversation?
No, what white girl?
What white girl?
Damn, Bobby. Remember that? How we all talked about how that interview is now
Drake,
missing from the interview because he took it down?
But he didn't, that wasn't on Drake's Vivo page. That was on her.
Yeah,
YouTube
that was
page.
on her thing.
I still don't know what happened with that.
Wasn't it a music thing? Wasn't like a song played? Was it a Tiger song or something?
I think that was like the rumor, but I can't see Universal doing that.
I think that was the public cover.
That probably boosted Tiger's streams.
I mean, he may have, it may have been the thing where he told them that it was only the interview was only allowed to be up for a certain amount of time.
I was going to say it could have also just been a clause on because it exists on YouTube, just not on her page.
And I'm saying the difference is this was on Bobby's page originally. Yes. She paid for it. They shot this at Drake's house. Yeah,
this is on his home.
No, I know it's at his house, but like when he did the Caleb interview, that's owned by Barstool. Like even though it was at Drake's house, it's still owned by Barstool. Mm-hmm. I'm saying the difference with the Rap Radar one was it's on Drake's YouTube page, shot by his director and edited by his director. And he didn't cut anything out. But Drake was seeing the change as other artists were and wanted to own his own content. If I'm doing an interview and I'm this big, I'm owning that fucking interview. Crazy?
For sure.
But there was nothing that they weren't allowed to talk about. That could be different now. I'm just talking about that example. But we've also discussed Russ's fourth point. It's not the journalist's fault. No one cares about journalism anymore.
Yeah.
Artists are running, and this is not a shot at Kai or any of the streamers. All the artists are going there for promo. Mm-hmm. Because the fans aren't looking for deep dives. Some of us are, but it's a very minuscule part of the fan base. Everyone want to see them dance in Kai's basement. So she's misguided in her anger. Her anger should be that fans don't care about journalism anymore. It's not the artist's fault. If an artist is trying to sell music, they're supposed to care about journalistic integrity or they're supposed to care about promoting their album. Fans don't want this in-depth sit-down print interview with Elliot Wilson right now. They want to see their favorite artist dance with Kai.
Yeah.
Go do a Drewski sketch.
Literally Offset having a sleepover at Kai's did more for his career than like doing an interview run.
And I think it's great. I think that content is amazing. It humanizes the artist. I think it's really cool. I've always asked for balance. I would like that plus a really in-depth musical interview. Mm-hmm. But if I'm an artist and only have so much time and money to go promote my album, I'm going to go after the thing that gets the most eyes and people care the most about. And it's not journalism. So she's not mad at Russ. She's mad at the people that care about her occupation. Nobody gives a fuck about that. And that's really what Russ is saying in all four of these points.